Hey, you guys, what's up? This is Brooke Nichols with Nature's Premiere, and third time's a charm. I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out how to do this layout. So today is going to be a different setup. This is actually kind of like a intro. I'm trying to feel out like the setup that I want to do, and unfortunately I'm limited with using my phone, but I will be using a camera moving forward. So I will be using my computer because I want to answer questions that I've gotten on the page, and yeah, just try to be as relevant as possible and, you know, give you guys information about different topics that we talk and throw around on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. So I want to be very clear about what I want to do weekly with this show. So you all know we have a podcast. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, do check it out. We are on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and iTunes, of course, the biggest one. And it's under Nature's Premiere Podcast. Sorry, we also have a diaper service. But it's under Nature's Premiere Podcast, and we talk about, you know, our cliche thing is like, oh, everything from bees to babies. But predominantly we talk a lot about environmentalism, we talk a lot about conservationism, and truthfully, it's just to be, you know, genuine to my roots and what I believe in. And, you know, like a lot of people don't talk about conservation and sustainability and things of that nature in the natural parenting space. I mean, they definitely do like bring it up and they have, you know, some small topics, but you know, even in like, you know, not even natural parenting, but just like the regular parenting space, it's not connected as much as it should be, in my personal opinion. So I really want to talk more about like conservation and how like deforestation affects our, you know, future, like the generation coming up, right? Like we all have kids, or many of us have children, and, you know, we want to do the best that we can, give them the best clothes, best food, non-GMO, you know, organic, cloth diapers if possible. But, you know, we're not thinking of like, you know, the outcome, conservation, like is there even going to be like an environment for them to grow up in? So these are the things that I really want to talk about. And it's my personal belief that when families are, or just anyone, right, are introduced to these type of things and they learn more about it in a very non-judgmental way, they're more likely to like take it in and think about it. I'm not really a big fan of like shaming people, obviously. I think that's kind of like a try to use a nice word. It's just a mean thing to do, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not cool, you know? So I'm not gonna like, you know, bully someone into, you know, having a belief of like, let's say palm oil. I mean, I think education is power, right? Knowledge is power that will set you free. So if we share this information with people, I am of the firm belief that it will spread and more people will become aware of these issues. There's something about social media that like, you know, people see articles and posts and things like that, and they get triggered, right? Like they get really upset. I know I do. I see things on the daily, which is why I really want to like, you know, I've been trying to do it, but like reduce my social media consumption. And then like something else happens and then I forget about it. And then it's kind of like, all right, it's gone, right? Like it's not there anymore. But the thing is that, you know, these issues are still there, right? A perfect example, I shared a video, maybe about like 2 months ago, and it was about an orangutan that was in a forest. And I believe this video was taken back in like the late 90s, right? Like 1998, 1999. And there was or actually maybe even later, maybe like the early 2000s. And there was an orangutan fighting like a bulldozer, right? They're fighting a crane because they were coming in and destroying their home, right? Imagine if some giant machines came in and they're destroying your home. And it's like one of the most heartbreaking videos I've ever seen in my life. And I'm someone that like really tries not to watch those type of videos. I'm extremely empathetic to humans, to animals, and that's stuff that like will keep me up at night, you know what I mean? But a lot of people got very upset about that video, and they're like seeing the orangutan fighting these machines, and you know, it's sad when you see it. But then it's kind of like, oh, you know, in your feed, the next thing is like horoscopes or something. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just the nature of the beast that is social media. But that issue still remains. Like the reason why those orangutans were fighting those machines were because they were destroying their land, you know, their homes, their freaking homes, you guys, because they want to have, you know, you want to grow palm oil. They want to have cattle there. They want to, you know, big ag, right? Coming through, destroying the rainforest. They don't care. They couldn't care less. They don't care about the homes. They don't care about the people. They couldn't care less, right? So those issues still remain, you know, and a lot of people, in my personal belief, are very empathetic. I think, you know, most people are very good at heart. I just think they need to know more about these issues and, you know, it should be on the airways. We talked about that before, but I'm glad to be back, and I want to have this be like a good introduction to what we're going to be doing here. So we're going to be talking about different topics, again, sustainability related, things that are happening on the environment, you know, different topics like, you know, what's in the news, that are pertaining to like conservation, poaching, you know, things of that nature. So I'm really hoping that this helps people to understand better, like, you know, just grasp, you know, really what's going on. And at least you have an area where you can come and you can, you know, if you don't want to read the articles that people post and things like that, sometimes it's just easier to listen to a video. So if you ever have any suggestions, you have any comments, please feel free to, you know, shoot us a message or just leave a comment below. It's going to be a little bit of a different setup, but for right now, I'm just going to, you know, I'm jamming out on my phone. I got my desktop right here. I want to answer some questions. And yeah, I just want it to be as organic as possible. I don't have a script. I have my my water right here. We're just kicking it. I got my BlackBerry, hashtag old school. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what we're doing here, right? So here we go. I'm gonna get started. So my my caption is boycott palm oil and ditch zoos, right? Okay. So couple things. Now, if you're not following us on Instagram, check us out. We post some good stuff. At least in my stories, I keep it real all the time. I made a post and it had a lot of traction. A lot of people felt some type of way about this post with palm oil. Now, you know, again, people are, you know, they don't want to see animals getting hurt, or they don't want to see people losing their homes. And, you know, because again, just because a lot of people don't live in like houses like we do here, you know, in the States or anywhere in the world, first world countries, you know, there are people who live in like, you know, different types of setups, different homes, you know, in the rainforest. That's homes to a lot of indigenous people, you know, we just don't think of that. So even if you're not a big animal fan, you're, you know, still humans, right? These humans are still living there. So I posted something about, you know, palm oil and it being devastating to the orangutans, just completely destroying their population. Probably not going to be here in 20 years. I mean, if we're keeping it at 150%. But people got very pissed off, and they're tagging Nutella and they're tagging all of these companies. And I'm like, just bring it on, man. Like, bring it on. Tag all these people. You know, they should be held accountable for what they're doing. They're using an ingredient that is directly destroying the habitats of the Amazon rainforest. They are just killing it, absolutely raping and pillaging these virgin areas, right? Like, destroying these areas. Just to break it down for you guys, in the Amazon rainforest, you have biodiversity that are thousands of years old. Now, some people say, oh, well, we cut trees down, but we'll plant a tree. It's like, dude, the tree that you cut down was 2,000 years old, let's say. I'm just throwing out numbers out there. The tree that you're going to plant is going to take a very, very long time to get to that age again. It's not as simple as just planting a tree, which is a big reason, you know, when you get into Christmas and they cut trees down, and that's a whole other story. But there's a lot of biodiversity that may not appear, you know, or grow or even go around, you know, this area until the tree is about 200, 300 years old. So we can't buy time. For anybody that has lost anybody in their life, for anybody that has, you know, has reminisced of the past and things like that, time is just not something we can ever buy. It's just not something we can do. So when we go in there and you have these companies that are saying that they're doing, oh, we're our efforts of rehabilitation, while they're simultaneously just like on the back end, just providing complete deforestation, providing the funds to destroy the environment, it's like, it's so asinine, you know what I'm saying? Because they're not helping anything. So these companies are coming in, they're offering a product, they're getting people hooked on their product, because Nutella obviously is a very addictive product. A lot of people I know that had a hard time kicking it. Could be the sugars, could be whatever. And I'm only saying, I'm not picking on Nutella, but they're one of the brands that should be held accountable for using palm oil. Now, you know, they're using this ingredient that they could easily replace with something else. You know, you can use agave nectar. Now, that's controversial in itself, but that's not palm oil. You know what I'm saying? Like, palm oil, it's a very interesting story. You know, palm oil can only be grown like right on top of the equator, right? In the warmest part. It can only be grown there. And what do we have there? We have rainforest there. So you have this area that they want to make as much money as they can. They want to plow the rainforest. They want to space it out so they can grow as many plantations as they can. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about the bottom dollar, right? So when I say to boycott these companies, in essence, you know, these companies don't have a heartbeat, because clearly if they did, they wouldn't be killing orangutans and destroying the Amazon rainforest that will never be replenished. You know, like they wouldn't be doing that. So the only heartbeat that these companies have are in their wallet. So when you boycott these companies, you're hitting them where they only have like a heartbeat there, right? It's like the Grinch, right? Like that's it. They only have like they have one heartbeat and it's in their wallets, and you're hitting them there. And if they're seeing the numbers, like if they're running the numbers and they're seeing, oh, more and more people are switching to this type of brand, or they're switching here, or they're making their own Nutella, let's say, right? You know, they're going to start to be like, okay, what's the deal? Do some research, do whatever. And they're going to find that people are pissed off. Like, people don't want to promote products that are directly destroying the rainforest. And I'm using the rainforest as an example. There are so many other avenues we can go down with different parts of the world that are being affected with ingredients that people use every single day. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different types of issues that we're dealing with. So, you know, you have the soy issue. There's a lot of people that talk about the soy issue. I mean, there's so many different issues, but I'm talking about palm oil specifically because it is destroying these countries where they're coming from. And the problem is, because it's such a big money maker, right? These conglomerates are coming in, they're giving these people jobs. You know, these people who have to work, they need money. They're simultaneously, you know, almost under arrest, like under duress, destroying their environment to make ends meet. You know, and they know it's killing, they know it's killing their environment. So these are the problems, these are the issues. And, you know, when people tag me and they're like, oh, what about the RSPO and all this other stuff? Like, that's a rabbit hole that I'm more than happy to get down with you guys if you really want to do that. But that deserves a full dedicated video. That's kind of like the eco band-aid, you know, greenwashing of the palm oil industry. Oh, well, we have sustainable palm oil, and because we do this, you know, we're able to make sure that, you know, the orangutans are not dying at the same alarming rate. You guys, it's all BS, man. Like, there are some studies that have showed that there is a slight decline, but if there's a small population that is continuously dying, right, because the palm oil is huge, and then you have a little population that's like, okay, well, they're not dying as fast. That means, okay, what, they're going to be extinct in 23 years? Maybe not 20, maybe 23. You're just prolonging the inevitable. You know what I'm saying? So what we have to do, it's my firm belief that when we boycott certain products like palm oil, and let me just say, segue, why, if palm oil's not so bad, why do they have like 150 pseudo names? Like, when you look at an ingredient list, it doesn't always say palm oil. Sometimes it'll say something sweetened, or there's like a whole like list of things that you can actually check out on Palm Oil Free Certification Accreditation Program. They literally have a list of over 150 names that these scumbag companies, I'm just going to call them, that's what they are, they're hiding palm oil inside of ingredients so people don't know what it is. Because a lot of people who are starting to be like, oh, well, I'm not really down with palm oil, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of going to back off on palm oil. They're like, nah, we're not going to have it like that. So they start covering names. Like, how that's legal, I have no idea, but you know what I mean? Like, how could that be legal? But it is, and they do it all the time, and there's so many ingredients that are pseudo names for palm oil. Like, be transparent, you know? Like, just say, hey, we don't give a damn about the environment, we want to make money, we want to promote our product, we have palm oil in it, because guess what? A lot of people still will probably, you know, use the palm oil because it's convenient. Now, palm oil itself isn't horrible, you know? Like, the actual, like, palm itself, if there was a way that they could, like, grow palm oil, that it wasn't, you know, raping, pillaging, destroying the environment, killing the economy, totally just completely destroying everything, then we could talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there was some kind of truce we could make that, you know, we don't have to continue to destroy the rainforest. Okay, you'll get this section and you can grow all the palm oil you want. Then, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, then okay. Then that would make sense, you know? But like, that doesn't happen because that's just big business. That just doesn't happen. What happens is they get greedy and they're like, no, we need palm oil, you know, 3 times the palm oil. We need 10 times the palm oil. We need more space. We need more hectares of land taken down every minute. Like, we need more. It's a constant battle, you guys. It's a constant battle. So, you know, when you boycott something, when you hit them in the wallet, you hit them in the heartbeat, that's when they'll make a change. You know, put the fire to these companies. And you see it a lot, you know, and I'm really happy. Like, there's so many different like areas that are not related to the environment, whether it be about like, you know, people just with different sexual orientations, they're being segregated against. People put, you know, their hands to the fire. They let companies know, we're not going to support a company that's, you know, homophobic or they're racist or whatever. Like, that could work still, and that's fantastic. And obviously people should be doing that, but that can work anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to just do it for certain areas. We could do it for the environment. You guys, like, we have to speak for the environment. And I want to be like redundant, but it pisses me off that more people aren't calling these freaking companies out, you know? And it's almost like, in my personal opinion, from what I see, it's almost like people, you know, they're like, oh, are more people gonna, like, you know, notice me type of thing? Like, are they, it's like an attention thing. Like, I get on here, I don't give a damn who's watching me. I'm just gonna spread my message. If somebody sees it, if one person sees this and they look into palm oil and they find out for themselves, you know, what the deal is, if they find out more about zoos and they find out more about different things and they make a change, I did my job. At least in my heart, I did my job. Because there's power in numbers, right? Like, we just spread the word, we tell people about different things, and that's how you make a change, you know? But the only thing is that people aren't going to make a change if they don't know what's going on. And it's my personal belief that people are they're just not told what's really going on, and we're fed just some BS, you know, greenwashed agenda. You know what I mean? Like, World Wildlife Fund, step your freaking game up, man. Like, you guys are involved in a lot of shady things, and I'm not trying to, like, get sued and talk about other stuff, but, like, let's keep it real, man. Like, let's keep it real. You guys go down the rabbit hole of World Wildlife Fund. Like, let's be accountable for where your funds are going. Let's be accountable for, you know, what you're promoting. You know what I'm saying? RSPO. Like, let's be accountable for these things. Okay. You know, I've been a fan of the World Wildlife Fund since I was a kid, but let's be accountable. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, are you just using, you know, all of these different types of fundraisers and stuff as a way to, like, promote what you're doing, you know, expand? But if you're expanding, like, where's the work being done? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really going on? So, you know, even these environmental companies, like, you gotta put the freaking heat to everybody. That's my personal opinion. Put it across the board. You know what I mean? Like, all these people should be accountable. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing for the environment? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what's really good, you know? So anyway, so that's my beef with palm oil. We actually did an episode on the Nature's Premier podcast. We interviewed Bev Luff, and she is the founder of Palm Oil Free Certification Accreditation Program based out of Adelaide, Australia. I am a huge fan of their work. For those of you who follow the page, you guys know I shout them out constantly. I just love what they're doing. I think it's amazing. She's on the field, you guys. Like, and that's another thing too. Like, if you donate to charities and things like that, make sure that what you're donating to is actually going to these animals that you want to help, the people that you want to help, the children, the orphans, things like that. Like, it's very important that, you know, you're like 97% of World Wildlife Fund is not going to, you know, the donations are not going to the animals, or at least, you know, there's speculation. That's speculation. I'm not saying that's a fact. That's a speculation, though. You know what I mean? You got a lot of money going to those higher ups, though. That's all I'll say about that. But you know, it's very, very interesting. So, you know, just be careful with who you patron, and make sure that people are really doing the right thing. And that's a big problem that I have with palm oil. And that's why I love Bev Luff, because we like broke it down in that episode, you guys. She's got lovely accents. I have a heavy New York accent, but she has a lovely accent. You can check that episode out again on Nature's Premier on iTunes. It's a good one. And she goes into, like, palm oil is in everything, you guys. Palm oil is in soaps. Palm oil is in foods. Palm oil is in things that you don't eat, that you don't put on your body. I mean, it's in freaking everything, you guys. Like, it is such a problem, you know? And again, it's not something that's easily like, hey, it's palm oil. It's like, hey, it's sweetened oil, or it's sweetened coconut palm. They make it sound romantic, right? Like, sweetened coconut palm oil. It's like, dude, keep it real. Keep it real. Like, just be honest, you know? Just be honest. If it's not that bad, don't lie. Why you gotta have 150 pseudo names? You know what I mean? And I will say, like, I get so triggered by, like, by this topic. I get so mad because it's just not cool. It's just not cool on any level. And it bothers me that, you know, people who will look into, like, palm oil, right? Like, the real deets of palm oil, they'll be hit with walls. Like, I always feel like there's walls, like there's website walls for certain things, especially pertaining to the environment. They'd be like, oh, RSPO, you know, palm oil. And then you'll look, and then you'll be like, oh, there's sustainable palm oil. Okay, at least some people are doing stuff. And then you go to something else. But you have to understand, it's like a false sense of security. That's the problem. So if more people are, you know, they're addressing the issues of palm oil, and they're really putting the fire to these companies, they're going to make a difference. You know, you're going to have companies that are going to be like, all right, we're going to take a stand. You know, and that's a big reason, again, why I love Palm Oil Free Certification Accreditation Program, because they work with companies that say, I'm not going to put palm oil in my product. You know, like, they have several companies, and they're just a great company overall. Well, they're like an organization, nonprofit, but That's my palm oil shtick. So if anybody has any type of questions, please, let me know below. I am just rambling. I'm just shooting from the hip. You know what I mean? Because I get so tight with this type of topic. But I am more than happy to break down palm oil, break down the definitions, like, the pseudo names that people use, pseudo ingredients. I have no problem doing that, to be as transparent as possible, because again, knowledge is power, and the more you know, the more you can do. So another topic that I want to talk about is zoos. So, I'm sorry, you guys, sometimes I have to be like more professional. If I'm serious about being a natural, like a nature reporter, so to speak, or a conservation reporter, I have to really not use potty words pretty much. Then I do the best that I can. I'm sorry. I'm human. I'm not perfect. But my latest post, which was yesterday, I posted it at 9:18. I wrote, okay, I'm just going to say it, zoos suck, okay? So for those of you who know, not to get into it because I don't want that to be a part of this, but I had a recent passing in my family, and it affected me greatly, and I've just been very sensitive. I've been very upset. I've been very emotional, and, it's hard for me to be on social media because I do see things like this. It's and it was a picture that says, she is so lonely she holds her own tail. Wild animals belong in the wild, right? And I just said, okay, I'm going to say it, zoos suck. Because they suck, you guys. Zoos suck, okay? Yes, there's some zoos, I will say this off the bat, there are some zoos that are, trying to deal with conservation efforts and things like that. And, again, it sounds romantic, but my whole thing is that, 99% of zoos are a business. You know what I'm saying? They're a business. So where do you think those cute baby animals come from? They breed them, right? And what happens when an animal gets too old, or if they have too many animals? They kill them, or they put them somewhere else. You guys remember the giraffe? I actually forgot his name. Because again, it seems to be the news will report animals with names, and we seem to care about them, but we don't think about the other animals that don't have names. Like Cecil the lion. I actually have, where is he? This is a corny name. I have the little T.Y. Cecil the lion. And this is a very heartbreaking story. But I mean, that just shows you T.Y. made a freaking, stuffed animal of an animal that we named. But there's so many animals that have no names that we don't speak for. And that's a big problem. But there was this giraffe that was a baby giraffe, and they wound up killing it. And it's because they had no room for it. They wouldn't give it to these animal rights organizations. I mean, it's a whole dirty story. I'm sure we'll touch on that at some point. But zoos are a business. They want to make a profit. They know more people come to their zoos or their location when they have baby animals, because baby animals are cute, man. There's no denying it. Baby animals rock. They're adorable, Baby humans are cute too, but baby animals are sweet. I love baby animals. But the thing is with zoos is that, there's a dirty underbelly of zoos, and people got really pissed off, mainly on Instagram. So I had some comments that I'm happy to address actually right now. That's what I wanted to do. Ernie, hold your comment. I'm going to answer it at the end. But thank you for your commentary. Okay, give me one sec. Yes, they do. Okay, so this is in response to, I'm saying zoos suck, and this is what people are saying. Yes, they do, but humans are taking over their territory. So where do they go? To the city, towns, camping areas, and then they get killed. It's a perfect, rebuttal, perfect response, because it makes sense. You would think okay, zoos are protecting animals, right? And honestly, that is partly true, right? They are protecting them. But when you think of animals like Harambe, that, a child fell into their pit and they shot him because he was, I mean, I get it. That's a very controversial topic that I don't even want to get into because it's so controversial. But, the whole Harambe situation, there's so many times where you hear of animals dying. Now, I do understand the aspect of it's protecting them, but, is it really protecting them when you're phasing them out before their lifespan, right? If you're phasing them out so you can fit in more baby animals, it's just putting a demand on people supporting these types of industries, and we can't support them. We have to support, ranges that protect the animals, right? So for example, the rhino, okay, in Africa, they are, or even lions, right? Perfect example. There are protected areas in Africa there, and it's actually becoming bigger. And there's more rangers that are, taking the initiative to have protected areas, protected space, paid for by the actual country to protect these animals. And they have poacher hunters that are protecting these animals. So there are areas that they're safe. And you are right though, because even in the wild, you know, like for example, Cecil the lion, you know, like those hunters, they lured Cecil out of his protected area and they killed him barbarically, of course, because they're scumbags. But that's what happened with them. So truthfully, you know, my whole thing is zoos perpetuate like a need that we need to continue the business of paying for animals to be enslaved for our enjoyment. And it's a big problem because there's a lot. We also have a podcast episode about this, about, you know, why you should boycott zoos and things like that. And I don't want to get too much into it because it's pretty much, you know, it's like just verbatim. Well, not verbatim. I'm just, I forgot what it's just saying the same stuff, right? It's redundant. So pretty much, you know, a lot of animals, they suffer a lot of psychological issues in zoos. There's just a lot of issues, man. Like the diet's poor than in the wild. There's just many, many, many issues inside zoos. Again, it does. Okay, a perfect example, right? So I went with my family to Yellowstone National Park back in September, and we were in Montana, and which is right next to it. And well, depending on where you are, we were in Montana, and my kids really wanted to go. I'm still so pissed off about this situation. So they wanted to go to this like little area, right? It was they said it was a sanctuary. Okay, they said it was a glorified freaking zoo. They said it was a sanctuary, and it was like the Wolf and Bear Discovery Center or something like that. I'm sure if you guys look online, you'll find it. It was in Montana. And anyway, long story short, I'm talking to the woman before I get in there, and I'm seeing it's zoo approved right there. That should have been a sign to get the hell out of there. So I'm like, all right, fine. Let me go over here, right? So you know, I'm talking to the lady, and she's like, oh, you know, it's a sanctuary for these animals, you know, and let me just segue. Let me say one thing. What pissed me off was that she knew that I had never been there, and I probably didn't do my research, and I just wanted somebody to tell me it was okay. So hindsight 2020, I'm never doing that again. But the woman lied to me and told me that the animals had 3.5 acres per animal. Okay, and in my head, I'm like, and she's like, oh, they would have been killed in the wild, or you know, they were gonna get killed, or it was like something, you know, again, romantic that they were telling me and compassionate, and I'm like, okay. 3.5 acres, I was like, that's still small, but okay, let me, you know, that doesn't sound horrible, right? Because if it's 2 bears to 6 acres, I'm like, all right, you know, like, still really small, but, excuse me, I was like, all right, it must be something. And then they had wolves, and I'm like, oh, wolves, that's interesting. 4 acres per wolf. And in my head, I'm like, you know, you try to like make the acres in your head, and I have my kids staring at me, and you know, my husband's like looking at me like, stop being so freaking crazy, right? So I'm just like, fine, man. I was like, all right, you know, if this money's not going to promote zoos, if it's going to promote the sanctuary, you know, and we all do that in our life, right? We all know like there's a reason why we don't want to do something, but we're like trying to convince ourselves to do it. So anyway, make a long story short, we pay, it was like $60, ridiculous. And we go in there, and immediately I got a bad feeling. I'm like, oh man, what the hell? And then I see a cage, right? I see a small enclosure, and I'm like, you know, I go in there, and I'm like, this cannot be their enclosure. And it was probably an acre for like 5 bears. I'm not even kidding. It was like, I think they had 3 bears, and they had like a dirty pond, and I'm like infuriated, right? And then I'm walking around, and my kids are like, oh, look at this. And they're gigantic grizzly bears, okay? I'm from New York. I live in New York, and we have small black bears. I've seen them in person. They're not big. They're small. Grizzly bears are freaking gigantic. I don't know if you guys are familiar with grizzly bears, depending on where you are in the world. They're huge. They're gigantic. They're like nothing to screw with, right? So, and you see barbed wire everywhere, which I expected, but the freaking enclosure was infuriating. It was so tiny. And then I'm like pacing because I have anxiety, and I'm like infuriated, and I'm trying to be like a good role model for my kids and not completely lose my, you know, wits about me, right? So now I'm walking around, and then I see it's very small. And listen, I will say, if it's a sanctuary, I get it. But off from Jump Street, she lied to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she straight up lied to me. And then I turn around, and I see the wolves, and I see these 2 very small, skinny, just like malnourished wolves that are running around in circles, running around in circles, and they're like pacing, and it's anxiety pacing, because I remember seeing that in a zoo when I was a kid, and I found out later there's like a certain pacing an animal does, right? They keep their head down, they're pacing, they're just what are they gonna do? They're a rat in a wheel, you know, they're in a small cage, like what are they gonna do? So I was freaking infuriated. I talked to the director, I did that whole shtick, right? But at the end of the day, I paid them $60 and I promoted that, you know, and then I found out, you know, the bears were a different issue. I found out they were kept in cages like 24 hours a day, or 22 hours a day, and like which were probably small because we couldn't see them. So if what I'm seeing was a lie and it was a fraction of what she told me, then what was underground was also a lie. It's probably tiny. It bothers me so much. So I found out that the wolves were actually they were not wild wolves. They were born in captivity. They were used for movie sets. So she had said they were like, oh, they had the puppies and they were going to kill them, and then we offered to take them. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but like now you just charge me $60 to come in here with my family, and I'm leaving with like, I just lost a year of my life because I'm freaking fuming mad. But anyway, that was a long story. But I'm just saying like just the dishonesty. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to perpetuate the business of keeping animals in cages. Every animal deserves to be free, and I do understand what this commenter is saying. It was a long-winded comment. I apologize on my end. You know, I do understand what they're saying, but at the end of the day, like, we need to promote more safe havens for animals. We need to promote more people, protected areas, man, protected areas. Like, who the hell are we to keep them in cages? You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, let's be honest, you know? Like, I have seen real sanctuaries, and I see what they're limited, I see what they try to do, but it's very different, you know? A zoo, like, making money. Let's talk about SeaWorld for a second. You know, like, how are they still even in business? Like, really, like, they're keeping these gigantic orcas in bathtubs. You know, watch Blackfish if you haven't watched Blackfish. I mean, that movie really, I couldn't finish it, truthfully. Like, I mean, I did finish it. I watched it in, like parts, like, bits and pieces. But I'm telling you guys, like, we can do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can do better. You know, Tilikum, right? I forget, Tilikum, I think that was his name. He deserved better, man. Like, and he was killing all these people, and, you know, they were saying, oh, he's worth so much money, and they were, you know, trying to get, you know, his sperm to like produce more, you know, orcas, and it's disgusting, dirty business. Don't tell me that they're in it for the animals. Don't tell me that they're in it for the freaking animals, because they're not, okay? They're not. And I'll debate that all day. But I do think that we can do better, Delia, and, you know, I think we should, if we promote zoos, promote sanctuaries, okay? Let's do an in-between. Let's promote sanctuaries. Don't promote big zoos, man. Don't promote big zoos, because, again, like, when they talk about, like, oh, you know, we have baby animals here, guess what? We have baby animals. What's happening with the old animals? Look at Disney World, man. Disney World, that everyone's like, oh, I saw all the animals at Disney World. Do you know that they rotate animals? There are animals that live underground in the dark. Like, you guys, like, we have to do better. This is just straight up deplorable. Seriously, like, you know, real, this is the real word for deplorable. I mean, oh, well, I guess the other word was right too, but, you know, it's just crazy. And then, like, you know, I had another commenter, Laura, make a comment about how she would never bring her kids there. The only time I'd ever bring my kids to a zoo was to protest, and I felt bad that I brought them to the Discovery Center, because, and they knew I was upset, and, you know, all that other stuff. So, you guys, it's just been crazy. Another comment was from Sandra. Unfortunately, they are being slaughtered in the wild, so zoos or other alternatives are a necessity if they are to survive. Now, again, I believe that's to a point. You know, they say that there are more tigers in U.S. households than there are in the wild, which is just disgusting. Less than 3,000 Siberian tigers, well, less than that, but less than 3,000 tigers in the actual wild, which is insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's insane. But again, like, you know, although that's the situation, if we're going to continuously support zoos, you're gonna have an issue with, you know, continuing these animals' lives anyway. You know what I mean? Like, issues with reproducing, issues with lifespan. There's a lot of problems, man. Like, so what are we gonna have? Like, these, you know, these animals that live half of their expectancy, they're like, oh, they live longer in zoos or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's always these statistics that are being thrown around. We need to, again, you know, if these sanctuaries, if these zoos want to help, then they should, you know, they should maybe have a zoo, like, where an animal's there for a little bit and then they rehabilitate them to the wild, a protected area in the wild. Like, why are we not, you know, making more areas protected? Like, this is where our tax money, my freaking tax money should go, man. Like, I'm serious. Not to go fund for some, you know, not to get political, but, you know, I'm not even gonna bring that up. But, you know, this is where it should go, right? Because we are losing so many animals, you know, like, so many animals are threatened on an endangered species list, which honestly is just a rotating door for animals that, you know, there's a very short period. They're threatened, they're endangered, they're critically endangered, and then they're gone, you know, and it just seems to be like a factory almost because of the way that we're handling the situation, you know what I mean? So, like, if we continuously support organizations like SeaWorld, for example, Scumbags, if I didn't mention that 3 times already, you know, it promotes the idea, especially in children, that it's okay to keep animals in captivity. You know, and that's another thing too. Like, we want to build empathy in these children. Like, you know, and a lot of people don't agree with me, man. Like, and that's cool because, hey, like, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But, you know, if I don't want my kid to go to a zoo to see an animal that they could visit and see in the wild, because there's no more wild and there's no more animals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to siphon all the animals from the wild and put them in freaking cages. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. We need a better way. But zoos killing off animals, zoos keeping them in small cages, keeping them medicated, which is a big thing a lot of people don't know about. A lot of animals are medicated. You know, keeping these animals, like, you ever see those people that like go on lions and stuff, and these lions are like, they're just drugged? It's all about money, man. It's all about money. Don't tell me it's about the conservation of a freaking animal, man. It's not. It's not. It's ridiculous, you know? Like, it's a big problem. Yeah, I'm trying to yell at my phone, but I just get and Bud Getter. Yeah, you're right. Animal prisons, straight up animal prisons. Prisons for animals that never did a damn thing to anybody, right? Like, prisons for animals that didn't do anything. Now, if there was a way that we could have like 3 gigantic areas where animals can go in and they have ample space and it's just like, oh, they have so much room, we barely ever see them, then that's one thing. The one zoo that I have heard good things about certain zoos, and again, I said that in the beginning, but that's like off the 5 percentile. Like, let's keep it 150%. I mean, that's the 5 percentile. You hear in other countries, there was that one zoo that was abandoned and all the animals are starving. There was another zoo that the owners just dipped. They're like, peace. They closed the zoo and they had to get the government to come in and save all the animals. People suck. You know, like, not saying everybody, but some people really suck, man. When I hear these stories, I get so freaking mad. But anyway, you guys, I wanted to address those 2 things. We can only do so much because we're human beings and we're not perfect. I'm far from perfect. And I'm sure that you know, a lot of people think I'm far from perfect and they would be accurate. But what we can do is, you know, small steps every single day. You know, it's a marathon, it's not a race. You know what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of people say, oh, I need to run 100, you know, go 150 speed. But then you get out of breath and then you don't change. But if you change 1% every single day, right? Which could be something as, you know, and I'm talking about like just in life in general, right? Let's say you want to start reading, right? And you start reading a chapter a day or whatever. You would have changed 365 days this time next year. I mean, everybody can do something. Knowledge is power. I've said that a couple times as well. We can all do our part. You know what I mean? So if you're really somebody that you're like, girl, you're just rambling. This is just too heavy, man. Like, can you break it down into small pieces? The best thing I could tell you is to just not even like research, like heavy research. Like, you know, if there's a, what is that called? I forgot the funny word. I was thinking of, you know, when they have like those, I'm thinking of like Rocky. You know, like when they have those, like, they show like the montages, like you think of like a montage of someone researching and going, you know, putting all this time into their computer and they're like, you know, thinking, I'm just thinking like this whole scenario in my head. I'm freaking crazy. But, I don't mean like that. I mean, like, if you're interested in like things that have palm oil, like to circle back to Ernie Vegas's question, you know, like, you know, if you're interested in what has palm oil in it, just do a quick search. You know, go on a site like Palm Oil Free Certification Accreditation Program if you want to start supporting businesses that don't contain palm oil in it. Because obviously these businesses are with it, man. And I want to put my money into a business that, you know, even if it's something that, like, let's say, like, I already have enough soap in my house, right? And there's a soap company that has this label on it. You know, I'm done looking at, like, GMO labels. I look at that. You know, the organic labels. I see that. But now I want to start seeing palm oil free labels. You know, and I don't want to see no RSVPO. You know, let's not do, like, the lukewarm stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just too extreme. But I want to see palm oil free, okay? I don't want to decode and do a montage of decoding this friggin' ingredients list to make sure there's no palm oil. I want to see that label. You know, so why did I say pressure companies to put this label on. If they're serious about helping the environment and they're saying they're going palm oil free, get the freaking label. It's cheap. It's super cheap. You know what I mean? Blend it into your fees, right? If you really want people to know that you're palm oil free, because again, it's about that label, and it's, you know, it would be a dream of mine to see that label on more products. You know, in the next 5 years, like that would be one of the products you look for. GMO, you know, organic certified, and, you know, GMO free, I mean, organic certified, and also palm oil free. I mean, that would be awesome. So the best thing that you can do personally is just to start you know, looking to see what has palm oil in it, right? Like, okay, does my favorite soap have palm oil in it? Does my, even that's with anything, like sodium lauryl sulfate. It's freaking awful for you. So many horrible side effects. Just Google that, you know, see if that's something that you want to, you know, continue to use. These are things that, you know, you could do, and it's just really simple, and that's all it is, right? Even my BlackBerry, you guys, I can like Google real quick, does this have palm oil in it? You know what I mean? Like, that's all you got to do. There's literally so many products that have palm oil in it that it's hard to even like say, oh, this company has palm oil, this company has palm oil. The reason why I'm dragging Nutella is because they know what it is. Like, they know what it is, and they're doing things dirty. So that's just, you know, if you're doing it dirty, I'm just going to say something, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go back to Ernie Vegas's so what is in palm oil? Like, what is it commonly found in? So palm oil is a plant. It's actually a plant. And they open the plant, they use the palm oil. So it's found, there's palm oil's in a lot of things. That's pretty much the situation. You know, it's commonly found in like shampoos, soaps, deodorants, lip glosses. I was really upset. I love this one company. I don't want to say anything because like I don't want to dog the company. It's a really good company, but I'm actually currently in the middle of emailing this one company, and I'm like, why are you using palm oil? You know, like sweetened palm oil, whatever. And they're like, oh, it's this. And I'm trying to like, I'm not trying to be like crazy and like, you know, give them like the whole like, you know, like preach and stuff like that and be like, oh, you know, it's horrible, whatever. But I am saying, I'm like, can you do better? You know, I think you can do better. You know what I mean? Put in a better product type of thing. Put in a better ingredient. You know, just tell people, because they know what I spend there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know, I like this one type of lip gloss, but I can't continue to patron this brand if it has freaking palm oil in it, man, you know? And even with the amount that I know now, I know for a fact there are things that are slipping by me. I know because they pay for you not to know, you know? Like, and even someone who's in it, who's with it, they know that, like, you know, you're gonna miss it sometimes, and that's the situation. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know below. I am more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you for joining me, and, you know, just me ranting, just trying to, I think this is gonna be my setup, you guys. I think I'm gonna have this computer, and any questions that are on this computer, you know, any questions that I put up or whatever, I'm going to be talking about that. I think I like this setup more. But again, if you have any questions about zoos, you have any comments about palm oil, please do leave them below. I'm more than happy to look into that. I'll take a sip of water real quick. Oh, I did get a comment the other day. Actually, that just reminded me with my glass water bottle. So I know this one person that goes to the gym a lot, whatever, and they use plastic water bottles. And they're like, I reuse my plastic water bottle probably 50 times. Like, they'll buy a plastic water bottle and they'll reuse it 50 times. And I'm like, why would you reuse it 50 times? Why don't you just buy a reusable? And like, oh, because I can't be bothered with it. But it's like, they're like, well, what's the damage on that on the environment? And I'm like, you know what, honestly, if you're using a water bottle 50 times, I mean, you're still, you know, it's got to get recycled and stuff, but that's not, I mean, you got the chemicals inside plastic, you're still promoting plastic use, things like that, but just use something that's reusable. You know what I mean? I always get like these trick questions, right? Like, if you were on a desert island, you know, what would you eat? And I'm like, come on, man. You know, what you want me to say? If you were with a pig and you were on a desert island and there was no food, what would you eat? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I eat bark. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, you know, it's, you know, if you were in a food store and there was all this green, you know, vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, what would you eat? Right? What are you gonna eat? What are you gonna eat? You know, you gonna eat the fruit? People are wild, you guys. People are wild. So I'm actually just gonna dive real quick into some other posts that I've made, make some commentary. Yeah, giraffes at risk of extinction as they are given critically endangered status for the first time. Congratulations, we have another animal on the endangered species list. Oh, critically endangered. Yeah, there's levels to this, you guys. Some people think like, oh, they got removed from the endangered species. No, they're still threatened. They're still threatened. Don't lift up your guard now. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. Australia cuts 80% of plastic bag use in 3 months. That's freaking awesome. That's actually incredible. That's by ecowatch.com. Yeah, and I will say that that's in the States as well, like especially on the East Coast. You know, people are pissed off about I've talked about this in past videos. They're pissed off about like the plastic bag tax, but like more people are now using reusable bags. You guys, that's like a reverse thing, right? That's like the, the legislation saying, hey guys, we're taxing you people, if you don't use reusable bags. We could literally do it in reverse. There's power in numbers, you know what I'm saying? Be like, hey, okay, well, we're not going to buy this product. We're not going to support this company if you guys, don't stop being D-bags and killing the environment. We could do that. There's power in numbers. We have to have more confidence. Another thing is too, we're too much like divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a vegan, if you're plant-based, if you are paleo, if you are on the meat-only diet, because that's a thing. It doesn't matter, man. Like, and I just bring up diets because people like to separate themselves, right? Like, we all need to like be in this together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's so many different issues that we have to tackle. And, there are so many people, like, it doesn't matter what socioeconomic class you come into. It doesn't matter what you do. Everybody can make a difference in their lives, man. I'm telling you, like, once people get their freaking heads out of the sand and they start working together and they stop hating each other and like, just like subtle shade and like pettiness. And once we all get on the same freaking page, it's going to be awesome. I mean, I hope that will happen at some point. You know what I mean? And that's why I hope like that this page that I'm trying to run, that I'm trying to do, this little show that I'm trying to do, even the podcast, I want to bring people together. It doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter what your name is, what skin color you are, what sexual orientation you are, what diet you are. We could all make a difference. We can all band together. We don't have to like each other. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of people that don't like me. That's okay. There's a lot of people I don't like. But we can all make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Ugh. Okay, I have so many. I post some really gloom stuff, guys. You guys need to put me in my place. I have to, though. I have to let you guys know. Terrified whale throws himself onto rocks to try and escape hunters. Like, why? I'm sure the hunters still hunted him too. Cute. That is bad karma. Straight. That is right. That is real talk, Diana. That is bad karma. Ugh. That video, man. That video. These orangutans are robbed of their homes and food source. Yeah, you guys have to watch some of these videos that I posted on November 23rd because you are unknowingly supporting. And they show you the butters. Even people like, I will say this one thing. And again, like if someone's looking to like reduce their meat consumption, obviously there's a lot of benefits of that. But again, I'm not going to go into all that stuff, right? Because I feel like we have to tackle certain issues at once. But, even people who like want to eat like vegan, right? Let's say, or they want to eat like more like plant-based, you can eat like more plant-based and not support palm oil. But unfortunately, there's a lot of these companies like Earth Balance that I found out that they actually have palm oil in it. You know what I mean? Earth Balance, it has so much potential to be completely badass, but they have palm oil, so I can't use it. Like these are the things, like, and there are things that I love to use that I can't use because I just have these nagging things called ethics and morals, and I just can't use them. You know what I mean? But yeah, the more we know, the more we can do. So I'm gonna look at like 2 more things and I'll let you guys go. Whale washed ashore with 115 plastic cups and 2 flip-flops in belly. I love how they add the flip-flops and just a pair of flip-flops because screw this whale, right? Like, in case the 115 plastic cups didn't kill the whale, we're going to throw 2 flip-flops in there. I'm actually going to open this one. This is by Daily Mail. No comment. So the 31-foot male sperm whale was found in the waters of Sulawesi, Indonesia. It had 13 pounds of plastic waste in its stomach, including 115 cups and 25 bags. Also found 4 bottles, 2 flip-flops, a nylon sack, and 1,000 other plastic bits. Now, let me just say one thing. You post a Kardashian on Daily Mail, and there's 150,000 comments. You post something about a dead whale with 13 pounds of plastic in it, and there's 2 comments. No comment, right? A dead whale that washed ashore in eastern Indonesia has been found to have a 13 pounds of lump of plastic. They also don't autocorrect. Let me try that again. A dead whale that washed ashore in eastern Indonesia has been found to have a 13 pounds lump of plastic waste in its stomach, including 115 plastic drinking cups and 2 flip-flops. Rescuers found the rotting carcass of the 31-foot male sperm whale on Monday near Kapota waters in the southeast Sulawesi province, according to Wakatobi National Park Chief Hero Santosa. The waste in its stomach included 115 plastic cups, 4 plastic bottles, 25 bags, 2 flip-flops, a nylon sack, and more than 1,000 other plastic pieces. The cause of death was still unknown. Really? Really. And the carcass was to be buried on Tuesday without a necropsy, sorry, I can't say that, because of its decayed condition. Although we have not been able to deduce the cause of death, the facts that we see are truly awful. So, it produces 3.2 million tons of mismanaged plastic waste a year, of which 1.29 million tons end up in the ocean, the study said. These couldn't be worse pictures, man. These couldn't be worse. And then the 2 comments, right? Like, not even acknowledging. But anyway, you know, it sounds doom and gloom, and I'm sure when some people look at like my own, you know, feed, they're probably like, oh my god, I can't watch this, I can't read this. But I will say, like, what does this have to do with diapers, damn it? What does this have to do with, you know, babies? I'm just a pregnant mom. I just want to learn how to diaper my kid, right? Some people probably think I'm that beep crazy, right? But no, really, like, it has to do with everything, right? And I will tie this all together by saying, you know, it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. And sometimes the truth is corny, right? The truth sounds cliche. The truth is, you know, whatever. But it's not about like looks and good verbiage. It's about just being honest, genuine, and passionate about what you're doing, right? So at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter where we come from, okay? Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about issues politically. I'm not going to sit here and talk about things that like other people are so invested in, because we have, guys, we have so many issues depending on where you know, everywhere in the world, right? Unless you live in like a blue light, I think it's called, district, where there's very few. That's where like people live, like centennials, the most centennials live. But we're all in this together, and we really need to like learn more about these issues. And the reason why I'm really excited about the show is because the more research that I do, the more I learn. You know what I mean? If you think that you're done learning, well, then you might as well just die, because you're never done learning. I'm a lifelong student. I just turned 32 on December 18th, and I know a lot more than I did when I was 18, but there's a hell of a lot more that I have to learn, and there's things that I may know that may not be correct that I have to correct, you know what I mean? So, like, that's why I'm always open to dialogue and people, you know, leaving comments and things like that, so I can learn more, right? Like, because if I think a certain type of way that's not beneficial to me, not beneficial to, you know, whatever, right? Like, that's just not correct, then I'm always happy to like sway that. All I am is just I'm a mother, I'm an environmentalist, and I give a damn, you guys. Like, that's it. Like, I really care, and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but what I will give you here is genuine information. I'm someone that was a product of bullying when I was a kid. I was bullied so bad, you guys, like so bad. I had depression, I had anxiety, crippling OCD. Used to get made fun of because I was a vegetarian. Used to get made fun of because I was poor. I was really poor. But what I had was things that people couldn't buy. And I had a family. I still have my family, of course. That's why when we lost my brother-in-law, it was heartbreaking. But, you know, my father always said, he's like, you know, there's things that money can't buy, and you have everything. You have your, you know, you have your parents, you have your siblings. And, you know, I went through a lot of stuff when I was a kid. You know, I talked about poaching when I was in 6th grade, when other kids were talking about Hanson, right? The Hanson boys, which I still had. I had a crush on Zach, still do, but that's a sidebar. That's a low time, I guess. But anyway, make a long story short, you know, I'm just someone that gives a damn, and I'm going to give you real news, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a company's being a dirtbag, I'm going to call it out. You know, even if like people want to come and debate me, I'm totally down. Those people like tagging Nutella, like, bring it, man, bring it. Tag Nutella, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, do it, because maybe they'll look at it if they have my point of view and be like, oh man, people don't like this palm oil crap. You know what I mean? Let me see if we can go to agave. Let me see if we can do some sweetened corn sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that shakes people up, man. And it's not always, and hey, these companies can turn around on a dime. If they contacted me tomorrow, right? And they're like, hey, how do I go about getting that palm oil free label? That would be insane. That would be awesome. And I would be blasting that all over the place, you know? But yeah, I just want to like build this with you guys, and if you ever have any commentary, you know, send it to me, and I'm excited to expand on this. So if anybody has any questions, I'm going to give it about another 30 seconds. Leave a message below. I'm going to be doing this on Saturdays, on the weekends, maybe some Sundays. Now that I hit 32, I got to go sleep a little earlier. I'm getting older, unless I'm training Wing Chun. or I'm training in jiu-jitsu, because I still got to keep that skill up. But anyway, I will wait. I'll take another sip of water. Even if anybody has anything they want to, like, you know, bring up, hey, can you talk about this in your next live, whatever. It's going to be a little different. I'm going to be playing up with the layout, but I'm excited to have you guys here with me. And yeah, we're just going to take it from there, you guys. So thank you so much. My name is Brooke. I am the host of the Nature's Premier podcast. Please do check us out at iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. This was probably too real of a show for you guys, but I'm just going to keep it coming. I hope you guys like what you see. Have a great week. Have a very happy holiday ahead, and God bless to all of you. Hug your family, and stay grateful always. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you back on the next video. Take care, guys.